Hey, Lenore. My name is Charles. I'm a nurse practitioner on the unit. So please tell me what brings you in here today.
Hi, Charles. I've just been feeling really fatigued and tired and anxious, and I've been I've been to the doctors 7 times in the last year, and they say I'm healthy as a horse, but I'm not getting any better. It's like I'm not doing well.
Okay, that sounds hard. Um, so you say it's you've been to the doctors over the past year. Has
Uh,
this anxiety and fatigue, is that approximately when it started, or does it predate that and the fatigue then followed?
it's been about a year. It's been about a year.
Okay, and so how are you sleeping?
Not well. I'm only sleeping a few hours a night. I keep waking up. I have a hard time getting to bed, and then I'm waking up early. I'm anxious. I can't sleep.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is that you have a hard time falling asleep, staying asleep, and then you wake up early as well.
Awful. It's awful. I'm not sleeping well.
Okay. Okay. Um, Approximately how many hours of sleep would you say you have?
On, on an average night, I'd probably say about 4 or 5 hours.
Wow, that
Uh,
must be that must be very stressful.
it is, and I just feel tired all the time.
Mhm. So tell me about the past year. Has something happened? Has there been a change, a development?
Yeah, there has. My grandson, um, I found out about a year ago that he's been abusing heroin,
Okay.
and that's been really hard for me. My,
Mhm.
I have a family member that passed away from an overdose a few years ago, and now I'm so worried that my grandson's going to pass away too, and I don't know what to do.
Right, right. So you're feeling helpless.
And I try to talk about it. I'm not. I go to a community senior center, a few times a week, and I try to talk to them about it, but none of them understand. They don't get me. They don't understand it.
Hmm. And how about at home? Any support system at home?
I have a fantastic husband. He's always been very supportive of me, but us, of our age, in our 70s, he's from that age where it just, men don't complain about the problems. He's stoic, and he doesn't like to think that he doesn't believe in addiction. He doesn't think it's a real thing. His father was like that. He's like that, and he doesn't think there's a problem. So I can't even talk to my own husband about it.
Right, right. Yeah, that's very difficult. That's very difficult. It sounds like you have some significant stressors and few outlets to talk about it. Yeah, I can imagine that's hard.
It is.
So I noticed as I reviewed your chart prior to coming in that you've been on lorazepam zero point 0.5 over the past 30 years or so. Tell me approximately how you've been utilizing that over the past year specifically.
Let's see that one. That's called the Ativan, right?
That's
That's
the Ativan. Yeah, thank you.
the little white one. Okay, I take
Yeah.
half of a milligram. I've been taking 30 years. I'm taking it for 30 years, and I take it. I guess as needed, but usually it's twice a day. I'll take it.
Okay.
But I just don't know if it's enough now. Just with everything going on, it's not helping, and I'm wondering if maybe I should just take more. And I haven't talked to my doctor about that yet, but I just don't know what to do.
Right. Right. Well, certainly you do want to talk to your doctor about that. Um, and that's something we can discuss at a later time. Do you find that so you find that the dose that you're taking when you take the zero point 0.5, it's not necessarily effective?
I used to be able to sleep soundly. I've always had a little bit of anxiety, just here and there, normal anxiety. But again, with everything going on the last year, I just don't think it's enough for me. And especially with the sleep, I need my sleep. I can't work out in the yard anymore. I can't do tend to the garden. When I'm at the senior center, I'm barely able to play the games with them or do my usual knitting. It's just, it's really getting in the way of what I like to do.
Right. Yes. Yeah. You sound very preoccupied. Uh,
Yeah.
very, and that's understandable. It's a significant stress that you're under. Um, do you see a therapist?
Um, I see a therapist. Well, I used to see a therapist, Dr. Smith, and he was all right. And then he moved away, and I just, I didn't pursue that. And I think it was helping a little bit. That was around the time that my son was, my grandson rather, he was, well, I found out, and I haven't seen anyone the last few months now. Do
Okay.
you think I should see someone?
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
I think specifically, um, part of what I'm getting is that you have a lot that's bottled up. There were the trials with the Buspar and the Wellbutrin and the
Oh,
SSRI,
I got
and
beat on that one. I got
right,
bar, and they said my potassium was just too low, and I couldn't do it.
right, right. It seems to me that the significant social stressor that you have is something that could be well addressed in therapy through therapeutic dialogue. Is that something you believe would be helpful for you?
Yeah, I did well with Dr. Smith, and I was starting to feel a little bit better, I think, but then he moved, and I just, my husband, he just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand. I feel alone, and I think that talking to someone would make me feel a little bit better. I think that that would help.
Okay, absolutely. One of the benefits about being here is we can organize that for you. We can make referrals for you,
Okay.
um, and we can get a little bit of information for you about that. So we talked about the sleep. I'd like to turn the focus a little bit to the anxiety.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about how you experienced the anxiety.
So I just I think about my grandson, and he's so young, and I know he can make his own decisions, but I'm so worried that he's going down the wrong path, and I'm worried that he's gonna overdose. And I've been reading about the opioid epidemic and the opioid crisis in Massachusetts, and it's so scary. I don't want him. I don't want to lose my grandson.
Right, right. I don't want you to lose your grandson either. So we're gonna, you know, be supportive for you in that. In terms of the how does it affect your appetite at all? Have you been losing weight without intending to, putting on weight without intending to?
Or, I was never a big woman, but my appetite has always been good. But oftentimes I'll find myself just not eating enough, or it's not even that I'm hungry. I just don't want to eat sometimes. Not all the time, but I have lost a few pounds,
Okay.
and I think it's really from either the sleep or the anxiety. I don't know.
Right, right. Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very difficult what you're going through. Absolutely. And in terms of like the anxiety with the fatigue and whatnot, do you sleep during the day? Do you take naps?
Well, sometimes when I'm really tired in the afternoon, I'll try to rest my eyes, and sometimes I'll maybe nod off or on for an hour or so. Is that okay?
Well, that's one of the catches, right? So on the one hand, we do want you to rest, but on the other hand, that could perpetuate the cycle of not sleeping at night. You're sort of disrupting your sleep cycle, your natural sleep cycle. I would encourage you to try and resist that. And in fact, something that might be helpful is to go for a walk, and that could also help alleviate the anxiety. So it would help keep you awake, but it would also sort of help you do a little bit of exercise, maybe get some fresh air, and that is also something that's helpful for the anxiety. So I would encourage you to not nap during the day,
Okay.
And in terms of before going to bed, do you watch TV? Do you read? Do you?
Yeah, I usually before bed I'll watch Alex Trebek on TV, and I love answering those Jeopardy questions. But sometimes I will watch that late when I get really stressed or if I really can't sleep. I'll come downstairs and I'll watch some TV.
Hmm. Does that help relieve the anxiety?
It gets me to think about something else, but I know that it probably keeps me up too because I shouldn't be watching those things at night when I'm really late.
That's something, I'll leave up to you. Certainly, we don't want to remove anything that is sort of helping you with the stress, but at the same time, you are correct. The screens prior to bed, the lighting can affect, especially time falling asleep, which is one of your concerns. Hard time falling asleep, waking up throughout the night, and then early awakening. So that could help with falling asleep. Also, coffee use.
Oh dear, yeah, I do drink a couple cups in order to get through the day. Sometimes I have to have a few cups of coffee to get me through. Should I not have my coffee anymore?
That is something else. So right now we are sort of in a difficult overlap period because you do have a need. You're fatigued, and the coffee does help. I would encourage you to drink water over the coffee.
Okay.
It is actually very common to be dehydrated anyway, and water can help with fatigue. So I would say have that first cup, try and keep it to 1 cup in the morning, and then drink water throughout the day. And you might even find that helps you with the fatigue and with your appetite as well.
So no coffee later on in the day, you're saying?
Yeah, that would be my recommendation.
Okay.
Um,
That makes sense. That makes sense.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
Have you been? So we've covered a lot. Are there any questions for you, for me?
at this time, I don't think I have any more questions. We talked about a lot. I think some of these things are stuff I'll have to talk to a therapist when I get a new one.
Hmm. Hmm. And so, in the same vein of like questions that you have for me, is there anything maybe that I didn't bring up that you did want to talk about? Maybe less questions, but maybe more things on your mind.
No, it was very reassuring to speak to someone that was willing to listen about my grandson because I haven't had a whole lot of support in the last year. So it was very nice to hear that from you, nurse.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I'm happy you came in. I think you're having a natural reaction to a very stressful situation. That is something we're going to be able to help coordinate for you. And so what I'll do now, if you'd like to sit comfortably, I'll go get our social worker and she'll come in and then she'll be able to coordinate with you to find a therapist that works for you.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea.
Okay. All right. Thanks for coming in, Eleanor. Thank you.
Thank you very much.